If you work in the garage, you know one of the most important tools at your disposal is your workbench. For us, we've been stuck with the same old marketplace special workbench for the past couple of years that's probably about one hit away from crumbling to pieces. Well, that changes. Today, we're going to build our own workbench. We could have gone down the route of buying one, but we thought, hey, we just bought this awesome welder. What better first project than to build our own workbench? Now, no solid project starts without a good plan. That's why before any beads can be laid, we're going to jump into CAD, we're going to draw this thing up, and then we'll have our plan to go off. Let's do it.
All right, so we're in SolidWorks now. You can see we've just drawn up this basic frame. We haven't put a top on it just so you can see the actual frame itself. But yeah, we're using 50x50 SHS and 30x30 SHS. We've been able to draw this up and we know exactly the profiles that we need. It's about 2 meters by 64 centimeters. And then we've been able to make up this drawing. So here's the drawing. We've got all our different members here. And then we've been able to make this bill of materials that shows us exactly the cut length that we need for each of the size. And we've got the rough dimensions there. We've also got a total figure for the 50x50. You can see we actually need 14 meters pretty much, which is quite a lot. And then we've also got a 5mm sheet of 240 by 1200. And then that'll be cut to these measurements so we can fit on the top and the bottom. But yeah, now we have a solid plan. Let's go get some steel.
Now, the next item was to acquire our steel. We've actually gone with bits of steel in Brendale. So I'd highly recommend you guys check them out. They're not sponsored or anything, but they helped us out heaps. They cut everything to pieces and they even cut the sheet as well. So that helped us a lot. And they even gave us some free scraps so we could practice our welding. So definitely check them out. Now, a couple things before we get started. If you are playing along at home, please, please, please be safe. Welding is extremely dangerous. There are a lot of ways to kill yourself or hurt yourself really bad. I'll leave some videos down below if you want to check them out. But yeah, definitely be safe. Definitely use PPE. It is very dangerous to be welding, especially by yourself in the garage. Another thing is, while you're here, you might as well just chuck us a sub, chuck us a like. It's literally free and helps me out so much. So thanks for doing that, guys. But yeah, enough chit chat. Well, let's get into the build. Alright, that was a lot of grinding. We finally got there. Basically, we've just chamfered the edges and we've just wire wheeled all the paint off. So she's all ready to go, already weld. Now we'll just grab some clamps. We'll make sure we measure 1 billion times and then we'll lay some first tacks. Alright, so we're ready to lay our first beads. Obviously, you can just use a scrap piece of RHS to make sure it's all square and to clamp it to itself. We've also used some blocks just to make sure that everything's sort of level. We are relying on how level this concrete pad is, and I don't think it's 100% level, but hey, good enough. And yeah, we'll just lay our first beads now. Let's check how good we are on our measurements. Noting it will move around when we tack it, so, oh yeah, not bad. 90.3 degrees, so I reckon that's pretty good. Let's keep going on the next one. Not terrible. They line up pretty well. Just gonna do one last check of the angles. Wow, 270 on the dot, no way. Holy dolly. 270 on the dot, that's pretty good. Don't know how accurate these measurements are, but stoked with that. Now we're just gonna check how symmetrical it is. Measure corner to corner. About 210. Just under 210. But I think this guy's got, a couple mil of tack, so I'm happy with that. I think we've got enough tack that it's not gonna warp around too much, so now we'll just alternate sides and we'll just do the final welding. Pretty much got the frame all welded now. I'm pretty happy with that. We can move on to welding the legs. Now, if anyone says I can't weld, have a look at this. That's a pretty solid dime. Don't look at this one. I don't know what the hell happened there, but yeah, that one's pretty mint. All right, now we're gonna move on to the legs. I've already prepped them, they're all good to go. We need to just work out some way to hold them straight and just hopefully weld them on and be all good to go. All right, so I'm thinking we make use of these magnets. We know that this is roughly square. I'm thinking we do something like that. Hopefully got enough contact area. Oh yeah, 269. That's about right. I'll just make sure we're square. All right, we're within about 1 degree. I'm happy with that. All right, let's give her a tack. I think we're good. Okay, now our legs are done. Next step is just going to be to weld in the little cross supports that'll form our little shelf down the bottom. So I'm pretty happy. The legs are just tacked on for now and just do the rest later. We managed to get this one in. I'm pretty happy with the height. It's 500 to the top and everything's pretty even. It literally just slid in very nicely. So super happy. We'll just tack this guy in, then we'll do the other side and we'll do the side supports there. All right, so we've got 2 of these supports in. This is just to provide a bit of support to the sheet. We've done it upside down so that this will basically simulate the tabletop. Yeah, now we're just going to divide this dimension by, I think, 9, and then that'll give us how many slats that way we need. We've already got one shorter one to account for that side. And yeah.
A few moments later.
All right, so we've got the frame tacked up now. Pretty much everything fits. I've just test fitted the tabletop and everything is all good. It's relatively square, so pretty happy with that. Yeah, now we're just gonna go with the final welding. We'll prep them up. We'll probably start on this side, weld what we can to be covered by the tabletop. Then we'll flip it over and do the rest. The top side is done now, pretty much all welded up here. Not amazing welds, that seems like a pretty nice one. A couple of them are very hard to aim correctly. That's not ideal, but we'll grind them down so they're not interfering with the tabletop. But yeah, pretty happy with how it's welding out. Now we're just gonna hit it with some weld through primer so we don't get any rust. But yeah, now we'll flip them over and weld the bottom side. All right, so we've just drilled through the end caps, just used the mill, made it a lot easier while waiting for the table to dry. If you are doing any drilling at home through metal, I would highly recommend using this stuff. This stuff is literally magic. It's really just helps the drill eat through the metal, so highly recommend that stuff. Now that that's had a chance to dry, we'll jump back on the gun and finish welding it up. We just managed to do the first weld on this thing. Basically, we're just gonna weld a nut on the end cap there, and that'll allow us to adjust the height. And these are also articulated as well. So that should give us some good level ability for the table. Also, here's pretty much the finished product. So you can see it's all filed down, really nice edges there, relatively nice. And then we'll hit it with a lick of paint. That should be looking primo. Now we're just gonna do that for all the other ones. Hey, we are reinforcements. Woo! NPMC. All right, let's flip this dog. Yeah.
One person, not one person.
Yeah. The slab's also not level. It's got adjustable legs, so.
I'll just hold it down. This torch.
Not bad. I tried to go back and forth a little bit. Yay.
I'm gonna fucking smack your helmet down.
You wanna try that one? I can't have all the fun. That's gonna be so tricky, but it's fine. We're going okay. Yeah.
Something wasn't going okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, I think that's it on this side. All right, time to drill this thing. Good. Yeah, just eats it with that. All this oil is really fun to weld around. Yeah, well. After the fun of drilling in that vise, now we're just gonna put the sheet on the top. Yeah. That's pretty good. That's way better. Man, oh, look at that. He's got some boogers. Man, what have you done? Hey guys, so not sure where we left off last time, but we are pretty much back onto the bench now. We had to take a quick break from it to fix up some other cars, but we are back, ready to finish this thing off today. We just have to get that sheet, put it underneath there, weld it up. We'll have to notch the corners there. Then we're gonna give this thing a lick of paint, flip it over, give it another lick of paint, and then we should be all good to go. I really want this bench to be done, so let's just smash this dog out. Oh. Now, in case you're wondering, this thing is freaking heavy. Oh, this thing is very heavy. So that's pretty close. Just give her a bit of a tidy up. So now we're just gonna hang it off the side here. I'll slowly either grind or cut. May have to just actually cut it because I feel like the welds here are pretty big. I don't really want to grind them down. So yeah, we just have to cut that out and yeah, we're good to go. There we go. Sweet, now we'll just repeat the same thing on the other side. Then we'll go with a flappy disc and just tidy these corners up. Oh yeah. She's looking pretty good, I reckon. Loud noises. Oh, just like one corner. I reckon just needs a little bit more work. All right, so pretty happy where that's at. We've got it pretty much flush and square with the table. There's like no gap there, which is really good. We're just gonna go ahead and stitch it to the bench. All right, so she's all ready for paint now. We've just wire wheeled some of the welds down. We have ground a few down, but as you can see, there's some pretty mint welds, and then there's also some not so mint welds. So look, we can grind them all down, make them all look pretty, but there is some beauty in it being imperfect, being my first welding project. So look, I think I'm just gonna leave it as is, and we can always come back and clean it up later if we really want, but yeah. Sweet, let's get some paint. Oh, this thing's getting pretty heavy as well. Solid like 50 kilos, I reckon. Now we're gonna be painting it in our absolute favorite paint. It's called Hammer Finish. It's really nice. It's got a nice kind of flaky appearance, and it's pretty mint, pretty tough as well. Now it is going to rain soon and storming, so apologies for the thunder in the background. This top section we just probably want like a couple welds there, nothing too crazy. Oh, here comes the rain. RIP the 46 and 36 outside. Joking, I quickly just brought the 36 in because it's absolutely bot. That's a crazy storm, dude. That was a close one. We literally had both cars out of the garage and then it started to hail, so I literally had to rush in and chuck both of the cars in, push the bike in. Jeez, that was close. It was only small hail, but yeah, that's insane. Crazy, the storm just was going ham. All right, don't think we're gonna be doing any painting today, but at least we can get this freaking welding done. So the rain's died down now. We're just going to smash out this welding for real now. jokes, we just welded that up and I forgot to hit record, so lol. But yep, there's welds there now that weren't there before. Not the prettiest welds. It's definitely tricky to get on the thicker stuff and kind of flick the weld up to the thinner stuff. Otherwise I was blowing holes in the small RHS. But yeah, we'll prep the bottom side and then we'll just give that a weld as well. It's good enough. That is all the welding done and dusted. Happy with how it is. Just kind of tacked a few times on the bottom here. I'll show you guys. Couple tacks, nothing crazy. Just every couple runs. It's just so the tabletop doesn't warp. I think it's thick enough that it should be all fine. But yeah, now we'll just clean it up, hit it with some wax and grease remover, then we'll give it some coats of paint. So here she is, final product. We've basically given a couple coats of paint and yeah, she's looking really good. The only thing left to do now is to chuck the vise on and chuck in its spot. Now this thing is so heavy. I reckon that's like 60 kilos, that is crazy. All right, so now we're just going to wire wheel the raw metal just to prep it so it's nice and clean. I think there's also a little bit of residue left from the tape. Just give it a quick once over with the wire brush. I'm pretty happy with that, doesn't have to be perfect. And here's the wax of choice. Allegedly, the people of Reddit say that this is the stuff to use. Just lather it on, I guess. Then we'll give her a nice polish, eh? Make that clear coat shine. Solid. So here she is, she's all done. Super happy with how it turned out. It's not perfect, but hey, first workbench, so not gonna complain. Stoked to be able to do it all myself. And yeah, that's all for now. Hopefully this has given you motivation to tackle your own workbench at home and weld it up yourself. But yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget to like, sub, all that great stuff. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.